cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else chose you instead. Yeah, lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Got up in the morning, took a shot, it's the right. And girl, you left my stomach in a knot. Took my lighter and you burned the bridge. Thought you was a writer, no, you're just an idol. You got me feeling like Big Sean in this 5, 4, 3, 2. I deserve a minute, wait a minute. Gotta get up and over, regain my composure. No longer my lover, finally finished and you did it. Girl, you really showed me, think with your heart, don't think with your body, clever. Sorry not sorry, sorry not Justin Timberlake, write me a river. Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. You tried to convince me it was all in my head, and I felt like it's that you was me instead. And I wanted to rock with you, roll with you. Said you was my baby girl, then you left me too. Everything was kosher, perfect like a poster. Then I got word that you wanna leave a picture. Off with somebody else, off with the jerk. With the shame on me, I really thought that it could work. Off with somebody else, off with the loser. Shame on me, I really thought we had a... Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else choose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else chose you instead. Yeah, lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Got up in the morning, took a shot, it's the right. Girl, you left my stomach in a knot. Took my lighter and you burned the bridge. Thought you was a writer, no, you're just an idol. You got me feeling like Big Sean in this 5, 4, 3, 2. I deserve a minute, wait a minute. Gotta get up and over, regain my composure. No longer my lover, finally finished and you did it. Girl, you really showed me, think with your heart, don't think with your body, clever. Sorry not sorry, sorry not Justin Timberlake, write me a river. Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else choose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. You tried to convince me it was all in my head, and I felt like it's that you was me instead. And I wanted to rock with you, roll with you. Said you was my baby girl, then you left me too. Everything was kosher, perfect like a poster. Then I got word that you wanna somebody else off with the jerk. Shame on me, I really thought that it could work. Off with somebody else, off with the loser. Shame on me, I really thought we had a. Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. Yeah, lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Got up in the morning, took a shot of Ciroc. Girl, you left my stomach in a knot. Took my lighter and you burned the bridge. Thought you was a writer, no, you're just an idol. You got me feeling like Big Sean in this 5, 4, 3, 2. I deserve a minute, wait a minute. Gotta get up and over, regain my composure. No longer my lover, finally finished and you did it. Girl, you really showed me, think with your heart, don't think with your body, clever. Sorry not sorry, sorry not Justin Timberlake, write me a river. Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. You try.
And the global greetings. Welcome to another edition of the Topics here on Real Entertainment Network. It's another beautiful Tuesday evening here in the Federation of Oli and Layamiga. For those who are not familiar with the Federation, those are the indigenous names for our islands, St. Kitts and Nevis. I want to say a special good evening to our brothers and sisters who are throughout the region, and to all of the leaders who are here in the Federation at this time, as CARICOM is going through the summit, which is being hosted right here on St. Kitts and Nevis. We're hopeful that eventually that we could have even more of our brothers and sisters joining CARICOM and strengthening CARICOM, and CARICOM actually doing some more of what I think they really should be doing, especially in these times, unifying. Also want to say good evening to good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you may be geographically. To those around the globe, some of those greetings may be applicable to you. Also want to say good evening to our usual followers, whether it's on the Facebook feed, the YouTube feed, or the Twitch TV feed. Also want to send a special message and encouragement to those who are listening, whatever medium you're listening to us on. We're encouraging you to go to the YouTube platform, subscribe, like, click on the notification bell, and share the YouTube platform. So we definitely want you on that side. Usually Facebook, we only hold the videos for about a month, but if you really want to listen and go through something and repeat and go back to something, your best bet would be to subscribe to the YouTube platform. We have with us this evening our special guest, Nadiv Mills, who is the CEO for the Medical Cannabis Authority here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so the conversation, or the true conversation, as we would say within Rastafari, is going to be mostly or mainly surrounding cannabis this evening. With that said, I also want to say greetings to my usual co-host, Shabazz Banky King, and we're looking forward to a very engaging, informative, and educational conversation this evening. So we look forward to folks calling in. The numbers would be, scrolling across the screen eventually. The numbers for you to call in, and if you want to comment and add your questions to the Facebook or the YouTube platform, we do generally pay attention to our followers via those means, and we seek to ensure that you are part of the conversation. So, Banky, greetings.
Greetings, Yasan, and greetings to the listening and viewing audience. Greatly appreciate you guys choosing Real Entertainment Network and being a part of the topics this evening. And good evening to our guest, Mr. Mills. Greatly appreciate you taking the invitation and being a part of this podcast to come disseminate some information about the Medicinal Cannabis Authority. Yasan, let me say also, while I'm at this, good evening to the folks over in St. Kitts and at Freedom FM. This afternoon was a guest on the hot topics with both Jamie and Nobian. So on that one seemed like it was well received and stuff like that. So greatly appreciate them for having me there. And also the topic was cannabis. And now we finished the evening with the CEO himself. So everything is very timely. It just happened to work out to be that way. So it's just how the universe works. So great that it could have worked out that I can have Mr. Mills here. So now that people will be in and listening, because cannabis is something that everyone must have an interest in, especially young people, and it's something that is different, and it can really diversify the economy if it is done in a nice, a right way where it benefits the locals and stuff. So we'll see what plans Mr. Mills have along with his chair and stuff like that when it comes to taking the lead and moving this industry forward, because everything gonna come from that office, and we're talking to the person himself who are tasked with a very, very big shoes to fill. As I say, the whole world is watching, the whole region is watching where St. Kitts Nevis is headed into. So this young man has been tasked with a lot of weight upon his shoulders. So you have to give him a chance to work and see what his plan is. So we're going to get in his head with some reasoning. So Mr. Mills, welcome. Yes, son?
Yes, thank you, Brother Banky and Yasan, for having me on this platform. And greetings to your listening and viewing audience as well. I'm just here to spread some knowledge, and hopefully influence or encourage the next local citizen to be the first pioneers in this medicinal cannabis industry. So happy for the reason. Welcome.
Yes, and usually we would seek to introduce our guest with a little bio. So I did a little research. I guess you will eventually correct me if there's anything that needs to be corrected, but I'll give a little intro to you, and then what we would want is for you to, in terms of getting the conversation or the conversation going, give us a little background information on who is Nadiv and like where you grew up and a little bit of what you would have done, and so on, and then we get into some of the questions that we may have. So Nadiv Mills is the newly appointed Chief Executive Officer of the St. Kitts and Nevis Medicinal Cannabis Authority. He brings expertise in healthcare management, data management, and leadership to the role. Born and raised in New York City, Mills was appointed recently amid efforts to advance the authority's medicinal cannabis initiatives, including recent stakeholder engagements. And that's basically a brief synopsis. As I said, if there's anything for you to correct or if there's anything you would want to add as well, you can do that, and then give us a little bit more of Nadiv, because I'm sure a lot of people out there trying to figure out who is this guy. We just heard about this guy, who is he? What, So, yes.
Yes, absolutely. What you said was pretty much it, but I'll just go a little bit more in depth. So I'm from the St. Peter's area. Yes, I was born in Bronx, New York, but my parents, both mother and father, is from St. Kitts, grew up in St. Kitts, but you don't know. There's a very large portion of our population that goes and have children in the United States. And yes, I am the product of such. But I moved to St. Kitts as a baby, went to primary school, high school in St. Kitts. Then after graduating from Washington Archibald High School, I went to college in Georgia. But just to give like a further in-depth background, my high school career, I was into sports. Played football, was the captain of the football team, played on a national level. I used to run track, Victor Ladorium twice in high school. So, like, I am pretty popular around my age group. So, just for everyone's clarity, I'm 31 years as well. So, I look old, but I'm kind of young still. So, maybe that's why I'm not too familiar. But amongst my peers, I would say I'm pretty popular. And just besides like sports, even in high school, that's when I got my introduction to cannabis, just experimenting for my own, like getting some seeds and planting it. And I just had a fascination with it from a tender age, that you could plant something and it grow. And then when you use it, it has an effect. Like that was just miraculous for me. And then having different smells and looks. And yeah, I was fascinated with it. But after high school, I chose to pursue something that I thought was a little bit more stable. So that's why I went into healthcare management. My aunt, she basically told me that it would be a good idea for me to go into that field, the health field, because I would always have occupation. Just so happened after I graduated, I couldn't find occupation. So I ended up just had to figure it out. So for many years, tried to work in the healthcare industry. I worked in long-term care. I worked as a consultant for long-term care facilities, like starting up and getting licensed and that type of stuff. And then I moved into construction actually as like a project manager. And that's where I gained a lot of like my business experience, contracts and projects and all that type of stuff. When I moved back to St. Kitts, it was 2019 when the pandemic hit. And I started working online doing marketing. I was able to build a skill marketing and sales. So I'm very versed in that aspect as well, closing deals. I got a position over at the St. Kitts Biomedical Research Facility, some called the Monkey Farm, where I was a data manager. I developed my skills in data analytics, data management, all that type of stuff. And it was very interesting for me, just watching trends and being able to come to conclusions, basically just getting different perspectives from the data collected. So, just with all them skills, just building all them skills, and then the opportunity arose. I saw opening Medicinal Cannabis Authority, and I applied, and the board thought that I would be a good fit. I think I am a very good fit, mainly because I'm more on the other end of it. I really just wanted to see this cannabis industry, progress and turn into something fruitful. So that is really my goal. Like, I'm not motivated by anything else but to see an industry exist. So that's pretty much it. Tonight, for sure, I would like to go through maybe the licenses, all of the licenses, to let everyone know what's available. And then maybe you can ask some questions about it. We could go further in depth, if that sounds good with you.
Yeah, that might be a good way to start, because I think a lot of education and promotion, like Banky was saying in his introduction as well, there is a need for a bit more public relations, so to speak, in terms of the cannabis industry. And so I think hearing from the CEO at this point now, presenting such information, it will take a lot of ambiguity out of some of the situations, and then we could get into some of the other questions that may be lingering, and give the callers also and viewers an opportunity to interact and have their questions being asked as well. So yeah, I think that's a good way to start it out.
Okay. All right. So at this time, we have a various amount of licenses available. There's the dispensary license, which authorizes you to sell medicinal cannabis to authorized patients or caregivers. Then there's a lounge license, whereas you're able as a medical patient to carry a medicinal cannabis and consume it, either edibles or smoking it, however you would consume it, vape it. And then there's testing facility license, which is basically setting up a lab where you would test cannabis for potency as well as pesticides and other parameters. There's a processing and manufacturing license. That's where you would extract the cannabinoids, the THC, the CBD, the CBN from the cannabis to get the oils that you can use to manufacture other byproducts, edibles, topicals, what have you. And then there's a transport license that allows you to transport medicinal cannabis between licensed businesses. As of right now, there isn't any mention for delivery, like from business to consumer, but maybe there might be provisions for that later on. There's also a research and development license, which allows you to conduct clinical research with using medicinal cannabis as well. Then there's a cultivation license, but the cultivation license is broken down into 6 tiers actually, and it goes based off of the size of the area that you want to cultivate. So tier 1 would be 11,000 square feet, and then up to tier 6, which is 5 acres or more. So, and then the price varies based off of the size, of course. So the process is you pay the application fee when you turn in a completed application, and then you have 3 years to pay the license fee. So you pay annually in thirds, and after 3 years you would have paid it off. The law speaks to... Go ahead.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me try to get some clarity here, because you just spoke to an application fee, and then there's a license fee, so that's two different...
Yes, that is correct. So it's basically a registration fee, the application fee, the registration fee. You can look at it as a processing fee, because there is a lot of supporting documents that is required with a completed application. So all the administrative costs and services associated with processing the application, there is a fee associated to it. You paid on turning in a completed application. However, if your application is not approved and you don't get a license, a portion of that is returned to you, 75% on the books right now, and then we keep 25% as that processing fee.
Okay, so that registration or that application fee. So then what is the actual licensing fee now for the cultivator?
So the licensing fee for the cultivator, I didn't go into numbers, but I'll just write and do it now. So the application fee for a cultivator, for locals it is 1,500. For tier 1, that's the application fee. And then for the license fee, tier 1, it is $1,000. Tier 2, it is 1,500. Tier 3, 2,000. Tier 4, 3,000. Tier 5, 5,000. And tier 6, which is a 5 acres or more, 200,000. And that's the local price. The foreigner price is significantly higher. For example, the 200,000, which is tier 6, the foreigner price is 4,200,000. So there is local protection built into it. I would say this authority, especially not on my leadership, we are not the ones that created these fees. We didn't even create the act, the rules, the regulations. We're just working with it. We're just trying to present the information to the public and guiding you along this application process, which is very tricky.
Okay,
Yeah, I understand that. 1 second, Banky. I just wanted to clarify that, because I would have heard some people in relation to that aspect not recognizing that, okay, yes, there is an application fee, and then there is now a licensing fee. So when you put the two of them together, technically now you pay the 1,500 for the application fee.
Yes.
Right?
And
If
tier
you're
1.
successful, Right, and if you're successful, then you'll have to pay the licensing fee, which is $1,000. So then, in actuality, you'll be paying $2,500 to get rolling. Then you,
Correct.
as you pointed out, you might not necessarily be successful with the application fee. If you are not successful, then you'll be reimbursed at 75%, and you'll keep 25 for, I guess, processing whatever you would have gone through. Okay, just wanted to clarify that. Banky, yes, we could go ahead. I just wanted to make sure that the public listening gets that clearly.
And just to add as well, as I said, the 1,000 licensing fee for the tier 1, you're paying over 3 years. So 333, whatever it is, over 3 years. They break it up into it.
Okay, so if I take up a farm, fill it out, and drop it out of the office, when I bring the farm to the office, I pay and give it to the clerk who is there. I pay the application fee at the same time. How does that work?
So
is there time given to pay the application fee?
I wouldn't encourage that because, as I say, it's a very tedious process, this application. So it's a lot of back and forth. So when you drop it off, I would first go through it and see like if you're missing anything. Because if you're missing anything, it's not a complete application. It makes no sense that you're paying an application fee. So we try to at least get it to complete, which means that we have already went through the act itself and the rules and regulations. We see all that is required. I've created a checklist which is available at the authority, and we did send some over to Nevis as well. Brother Irari, Rasai should have some. The checklist would help you make sure that you capture all of the supporting documents that is needed. After, we could say like you check off everything, you present everything that the law, the act, the rules, the regulations asking for, then you pay application fee. I feel like that's the fairest way for us to go through that process.
Okay, cool. Makes sense, definitely. Just I wanted to make sure, but that's fair. I can work with that. Yes,
but you could say it up front. As I said, I just wouldn't encourage it.
Okay. Well, just asking the questions at least for those who figure, well, if they have to pay this money, as I said, there's a processing fee either way. If you don't get through, you're still gonna get back 75% of your money. Which okay. Yes, son.
Something that was said a while ago is prompting me to ask this question in this particular way, because I was going to phrase it differently, but I think I'll put it this way. Is there any short-term plan to set up a branch or office, so to speak, on the island of Nevis so that we could get that level of access?
So I can definitively say yes, because that is really a matter of financing, and it is probably like above, my level. In government, it probably have to be at a minister level but I will champion the cause. I will suggest it to my peers and to my minister as well. But in the meantime, I have made sure that applications and the same documents, the checklists, for example, any documents that's over here should be available in Nevis as well. That's my position.
Yeah, okay.
But our office will be set up by June. I can't say that honestly. But there's a need. There's been a lot of interest from Nevis. Actually, most of the people that have shown interest has been Nevisians, I would say.
That's quite interesting to hear. And I mean, because what prompted me is when you mentioned a while ago that Rasai would have the copies and Nevis. And it kind of couples with one of the challenges that we are being faced with in Nevis, and I think that this might just be a part of why we are having this problem. It's because we don't have that level of governmental involvement in the process that we have on some kits. So here is it that you have a medical cannabis authority that is supposed to be a federal mission, and you have all this movement taking place on SIM kits, and it's taking place from the government standpoint, because even though the authority, so to speak, may be under a separate umbrella to some extent, it still falls under the Ministry of Agriculture, so it falls under a ministry.
For now,
We are
but
not getting that level.
buddy.
We are not getting that level of involvement on Nevis. We're not getting any involvement at all. We're not even hearing from the minister who should be technically involved with it on this side. And so some of the issues that we are faced with, like we spoke about even in the last conversation, where you highlighted that the commissioner is saying Nevis police ain't got nothing much to do. That is why they're harassing people over here. So I kind of figure and that's why I'm talking about in the short term, because I'm hopeful that we could have that level of involvement, which would show and demonstrate that, okay, this is not just people trying to do this thing. This is coming from a governmental, standpoint. So that is why I asked that question.
For sure. And so we did meet with the Premier. Of course, the meeting did get cut short. We wanted to also have a joint meeting with the Minister of Agriculture in Nevis as well. So we'll try to rearrange for that, hopefully in coming weeks, for sure.
Okay, so we know here on St. Kitts and Nevis, right, that majority of the what we would call traditional farmers were, and I would say to some extent, still not necessarily interested in medical cannabis. What plans do you and the authority have in place, so to speak, to try to get these transition, let me use that word, transition to traditional farmers, so to speak, to fit into or work into the medical cannabis space?
So the act itself speaks to a traditional cultivator, but as I said, like, we didn't make the act, and there is obvious shortcomings. There isn't a definition for a traditional cultivator, but we could imagine just from the term itself, traditional cultivator, it means that you have some kind of history, some kind of experience dealing with this plant. The act, the rules and regulations speak to the fees associated with a traditional cultivator, and it gives the traditional cultivator the application fee of $100 only and no license fee for 3 years. So it gives that person the opportunity, the man who might not, as I say, equipped right now to get into a full-blown cultivation license and operate a facility. He still has an opportunity to get an application fee, $100, and no license fee for 3 years. However, as I said, it does not define what are you allowed to do with a cultivation license. So we as the authority and really the legal department of the government have to come up with a definition. Of course, we would invite the suggestions of the general public. Some people already suggest what they think the traditional cultivator should be. So one of the ideas we are considering is that the traditional cultivator, we provide the seed stock, whichever strains it is, you're growing by the rules and the training of the government that we lay out for you. You're in our program, and then after you harvest, you just hand it over to the government for a market value. That's one of the ideas for the traditional cultivator. But as I said, the act as it stands right now does not give a definition. It just speaks to the fees which is $100 application fee and no license fee. So that's an opportunity.
So you're saying the traditional cultivator, they'll take part in growing whether it is a quarter acre, half acre, acre, and once they grow the cannabis with the same guidelines of any other person growing, because I guess they only have guidelines to follow the same way, then the government may, that is not written in stone as yet, but the suggestion you're saying, they will purchase it from the grower.
At a market value. At an established market value.
Of course. Yes.
And you just take it off you, so you don't have to process it. You're just growing it based off the standards that we train you up on and the program that change, the traditional cultivator program.
So how much years, so how do you define a traditional cultivator? How much years you have to be going for?
So this is the hard part now. The legal department of the government and the general public, through suggestions, is responsible for coming up with that definition. Really and truly, honestly.
I am here smiling, right? Because
the authority, the information you have there, nothing had a definition describe each segment. What is a traditional cultivator? There's no schedule that have the meaning for these things.
As of now, but as I said, as I'm in a position, I only assume the role in November. I mean, time flying, I say not only, but I'm working on it.
Let's put it like this then. Let me use myself as an example. For someone like me, who know herb all my life and in the environment and see herb grow from since me a youth, so would I fall in that category as a traditional cultivator? And who've been harassed for her for over 20 plus years, all my life, 30 years. I can see that a cultivator.
In my position, I would say yes. But as I said, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not the AG, so I can't say. But we have to come up with a definition and amend the act so that it is on paper, for sure.
I understand. All right. But okay, good.
It's a tricky one.
Ain't no tricky in that, Virgin. Ain't no, they're not tricky. Tradition is tradition. Not tricky to that. A man will go for 5 years as a traditional grower. They tell you, me already over 30. You just say 31, So you over that. So me would have for over 30 plus years. So that's what I get the point. That's what we asking. If there's a time frame, 10 years now, a traditional grower to me. So show you.
15, right?
Huh?
Yes.
15.
15. Banky said 30, I said 15.
50. Mr. Saying, I'm not the one who say what is specifically. I'm not a part who making the rules. You see what I'm saying? But I'm just hypothetically saying why you ask the question is a definition for these things.
Yeah.
I might say, why me go herb long time if I'm young, like you? And so, why me go herb long time? And he say, well, long time. By 8 years, I mean, the man was a teenager, 28 now, so it's a long time. Of course, for him, it's long time. So when me say, me go have a long time, and me say 30 plus years, you're not bad yet.
The problem,
but I'm just saying,
you might find people them that grow for 30 years, as Yasan said, really might be interested in this medicinal thing at all, because they're done,
Of course.
saying in the way that the 30 years
but on the business aspect of it, you never know. There's some might not for themselves, but there's to be a part of the business, grow it with the guidelines as a business to suit the market, because there will be niche market for this kind of product. So it is important that the door is open for those who want to take part. Now, because I might now want to, next month doesn't mean others doesn't want to. So it's just equal opportunities for who chose that pathway. That's all. But yes, sons.
I am just seeing some conundrum, and so that we.
It's a work in progress. That's what I'm saying. We have it niche, so where others have stalled short, we have the way to correct it and to make it's not written in stone. So amendments can be made. That's why all these things have to be classified. What an explanation have to be given, and these are just simple things that should have been overlooked.
Wonderful, and I'm grateful that the brother is here and has that sort of mindset to try to fix these things. Here is one of the questions that I have based on what I've just heard in that little exchange with you and Banky, right? Seeing the position that we are in right now, what is being done or has been done from your side, and maybe from the executive side to really address the legislative, who is the police, and the chief and so on, in terms of now really having a moratorium on this, because based on what I'm hearing, and that's why I'm smiling, like a lot of things are not fully in place, and I guess that is why to some extent the police feel that they just resort to what they have to deal with, because at this point you all ain't ready yet. Not necessarily you, but I mean like the authority, and I ain't even gone over to the ecclesiastic side of things yet, where that seemingly has been just thrown under the bus.
But your son, in this, the politicians them, because he still have to answer to his peers and still the minister. So these are the people at the helm, not the office, The problem is not the medical office. The problem is the ministers, the higher authority. They just
what I would say. Yes, and the authority is with you. I have already created a paper with all these issues that I see with the legislation and trying to seek the legal guidance from, as I said, the legal fraternity and the AG on how we can amend this law and seek clarity in all these areas. But as I said, I am working on it. It is a working process. But as the law stands right now, there is opportunity for you to partake in the medicinal cannabis industry. So although there are limitations and shortcomings, I don't want us like the lemon and the general man, let me say, the average man in SK, I don't want us to lament on these issues. There are issues and the authority is working on it. But the person with means who really see an opportunity in all these shortcomings in the law will take advantage, and I don't want anyone to get missed out on this opportunity.
Okay, so another thing before we move on, Banky, on the same traditional growers topic, right? At present, I mean, I know you said the law, the act speaks to it. At present, if I approach the authority now as a traditional grower, and you per se, based on whatever it is that you get from me, or if there's any other means for me to quantify that I am, if I have to get somebody, an elder in the community or whatever it is, to help to justify that. Are you guys in the position at present to provide me now with that license if I have my $100 available to do that at this present moment?
I can't say definitively yes, but the law is there. So there is provisions in the law. So we have to process you, and then as the authority put those processes in place, either we have to come up with a program for you now with your application and your license, your traditional license to follow. We would have to put those provisions in place. But as of right now, they are not there. So, but the law gives you authority as it speaks to a traditional cultivator.
Okay.
We don't have a definition.
So here's where here's where I gonna continue. So what's the purpose of taking application in this meanwhile? Unless the application fee, everything is granted within a month time. Yes, I'm approved. But who is in place when it comes to extension staff who gonna write the program to all these? So if this is not fully in place, so why the rush in taking up if it's not fine-tuned as yet, all these? Because just bringing in the seeds from agriculture, just bringing in the seeds, Nevis even having that agriculture having a conversation. So just the seeds alone, and customs and all these things gonna get stopped at the port. Because agriculture now quarantine don't know about no seeds. Director never have a discussion about no seeds, now nothing about cannabis. The PS was, quarantine was. This is the Nevis part of it. I communicate with the synced part up to now, then I don't put something in place within quarantine when it comes to cannabis seed. So all these things are not even in place yet. And these are the most basic stuff. And even at
So-
customs, because they'll still hold your stuff.
So the position of the agriculture department, and as I said, quarantine, is that we have to
Yes.
present with an import license. So they're not allowing you to import no seeds unless you have an import license. We realize that there's a conundrum with that because a cultivator needs to import seeds for him to cultivate. So that's another thing that we have.
Let me just say the import license is just like a fight to send for like $5, a small fee. The people here license they might think is a department. I'm not, but are your import license different to agriculture one? That's what you're trying to say?
The
Agriculture.
import medicinal cannabis import license so that you can import
Cannabis seeds?
cannabis products, which is a medicinal cannabis seed. So the cost of that for locals is 1,500. That's the application fee, and then 4,500 for the licensing fee over 3 years.
Wait, back up. Because I don't understand that. Way. Just to order seeds, we need a license from you guys to order seeds. Me understand that. Huh?
Just
I
seeds
just say just now.
As now,
medicinal
the
cannabis seeds.
agriculture
Medicinal
department
cannabis seeds.
is
Yes.
who has jurisdiction of importing all of that stock, germplasm, all of that. So they say that they're only accepting an medicinal cannabis import license for you to import medicinal cannabis seeds. That's the only way. However, the authority realized that we could fill a gap by facilitating the import of such seeds. So there's opportunities in everything. I don't want us to see roadblocks and bottlenecks and just turn on and, there's ways
Yes.
how we can get around everything, for sure. We could spend 3 years trying to change the law and nobody do
I
nothing.
got you.
Yes.
All right.
Quite interesting. I love that approach, and I love how you're seeking to, from this vantage point, look at the issues and seeking to present the challenges to the various authorities. However, part of why I am seeking to highlight some of these shortcomings to some extent is because of the reality that is being faced, and more so by Nivisions at this point, because I am seeing that when we look at the reports and so on, most, right now everything is on social media, and so we're seeing all of the recent charges and cases and so on. And we ain't seeing nothing about cannabis arrests and so on in syndicates, but we're seeing people and Nevis being charged $15,000 and $18,000 and so still. And so while there is that lag back and waiting to get all of these things sorted out, people are being affected, and people are being affected in their pockets. Something that, from a legal standpoint, in some cases even gazetted, that they have the rights. And the Sankofa case also would have even highlighted more so that they have the rights to do certain things which still they are being infringed and penalized for. So that is why I'm wondering, like, how much is really being done from that side to ensure or to help the police and those who are on the legal side in terms of trying to uphold the law, because it is their job to uphold whatever laws are in place. However, I sometimes people don't like me to use the example of Hammond, but the reality is Hammond is illegal as well. But the police have started to turn a blind eye to it and not necessarily harassing anybody. So I am saying, at least in the interim, then, since these regulations are not in place yet, have a moral talk and say, look, we ain't troubling nobody for cannabis. When, let them know still, okay, well, when these things put in place or whatever, whatever. But in the meantime, I don't think anybody should be harassed and should be locked up. That's just my standpoint, and I don't know how much is being done and how much you could do, your authority can do in terms of helping the police authorities to get the message to the division side of the police force to them. So that
Yes, son. No. What you said that make no sense. You just said that the commissioner of police said the Nevis police not gonna work it do. Well, like his job. What you really say? What you want the gentleman to do? The commissioner of police is in charge of the Nevis police, and he's supposed to relay the information over to his high command. Not Mr. Mills supposed to try to do nothing. I hear fail Nevis people community.
And yes, and that was the reason why he even gave that response, is because we brought the issue to him. Don't think that we just sitting back and not bringing it. The reason why he gave that response is because we're like, we realize there's a disparity. It seems lapse over here in St. Kitts and then over in Nevis, people getting locked up left, right, and center. And that was the response. I don't have to repeat it. Many people heard it. But we don't think it's acceptable at all. But I don't know how much power we really have as the authority to call for a moratorium, a grace period. We will push it for sure. But I think we might just need backing from maybe the Rastafarian organization and the general public. But I don't really know how much I can do from my position.
It just need backing from the Premier and the Prime Minister, and them is the Commander-in-Chief. It's just as simple and as basic as that. Just like in St. Vincent, with Mr. Gonzal tell the police, listen to me, this is just because it is the right thing to do, where the authority now can embark on educational programs and training and more focus on people developing their craft when it comes to all these different stuff and have seminars. So you have to focus on this thing, because if you want people to move towards things, I mean, you got to train them. It's just like, okay, the agriculture department down there building greenhouses. What's the point of building all these greenhouses when you don't have a training program? When you plan to say, young Yasan one, Yasan just want a greenhouse, but you never have worked in a greenhouse before. You see what I mean? So you have to have all this training going on in advance. When it's time to finish, people are moved into these things. That's how you plan for these things, Because it's not turning over a greenhouse, is management of these greenhouses and understand how much water use each of those size of greenhouse is going to use. They have to learn the amount of water use that they're going to take, I mean, these plants getting water 3-4 times a day and a timer for a couple of minutes. And how much when you just turn on that day? In 2 days, the water they're done. So, you have to be using the water efficiently and stuff like that. So, go ahead.
Yes, you're right. So as you said, the standards that we're expecting in the medicinal cannabis industry is different from how you grow in your backyard, or how you've been growing even if you're a traditional cultivator for 30 years, it will be different. So we're trying to introduce high standards to the general public. So in the upcoming months, we will be having training programs, and we will extend it to Nevis as well. The standards is really GACP and GAP. Anybody could look it up and start familiarizing yourself with the standards that we're looking for. These things stand for good agricultural practices and good agricultural and collection practices. These are the standards that the medicinal cannabis industry uses, like in Canada, Europe, for example. And then they would even modify it still. It's just a baseline of basically how you record data, your sanitation, them kind of things. Just looking at agriculture and horticulture in a complete package, not just growing plants, but looking at every aspect of it. And these are the standards that we want to push. So we will be having training in these in the upcoming months. And as I said, we will offer it to Nevis as well.
So you see, so this is the reason why no one should be getting locked up for herb. You see, so it's not the office. But the office will get a lot of leaks. Your area will get a lot of leaks because the other area where a man can have 6 trees in his yard, that is still not in place. So everything is forced to come through your office. Just at least they have a license, so they don't even have to be harassed by the police. Because as you see where this is going, so the minister really have to come out and speak more on this, the minister up here in Nevis, when I say minister, I mean the premier, because the minister in agriculture, he have an inch. So when I say the premier, the commanding chief can speak on, because it's just the right thing, because it don't make sense to have young people, because the system went where they expunge people, criminal records. So how you going to expunge the records of the cannabis, and now you're going to put them, now and charge them back. And this is what I got to big up JB this afternoon for saying that you expunge the records and then you give them back a record. This doesn't make no sense, and even heavier fines.
Exactly.
Yes. So
I mean, that's the argument that we brought to the High Command, was like, at the same time we want to develop our human capital. These are the people that will, push this industry forward. So if you arrest these guys and give them a criminal record, and now you're almost doing the nation a disservice at that point. You're not looking at the bigger picture when you're just arresting these people.
Yes, and you are getting some comments, and then at the top of the hour we take a break. And
I am kind of curious, and this is why I am not understanding this, because I thought that in the decriminalization, just the decriminalization process of cannabis, I thought that nobody who is charged would be criminalized. I thought the argument was it was supposed to be just like a traffic ticket. Whatever charges, you would have been maybe paying a fine. So this criminal aspect of it that is still attached to these, and I call them minor offenses, because a man planting 12 trees and have to pay $18,000. You're creating a criminal there. But that in itself, because where a young man gonna get that, I mean, he ain't got 20 pounds, not 20, I mean, it's a 20 pounds is a lot either. I mean, he ain't got 1,000 pounds. I mean, but let's go to some of the questions on the Facebook, on the YouTube platform. Andrew Daly says, as the medical cannabis legislation allowed significant positive growth to the cannabis farmers on St. Kitts and Nevis? I guess that's a question. I don't know if you could keep that in mind, Nadiv. Has the medical cannabis legislation allowed significant positive growth to the cannabis farmers on St. Kitts and Nevis? He also said, she also said, very interesting conversation. If a farmer fails to deliver a crop to the government standard, what will be the outcome of that investment? I have worked in the cannabis industry. I worked in a company, one of the biggest companies in Canada. It was affiliate then, but it's called Tillier now. When it comes to that, and that is why when I heard that the government was pushing, I would say hijack, I use the term hijack, the medical cannabis aspect of it and push it forward, I kept saying that it's going to be a challenge, because there's a lot of regulations that are going to be in place, and it's so regulated that a lot of people may not be able to put in the investment first in terms of the infrastructure that is needed to qualify for the medicinal cannabis license. And then you have the issue that is brought up here by the question, which is what happens to that. Now, if you are going for export and or for whatever authority that needs that GAP certification, if you do not meet it, then it's a total loss for you. Unless you have a system in place, or your business or your company is up to that standard where you could now maybe turn that into oil that maybe used as a capital or in creams or lotion or something like that, then that's a total loss for you. So you would have to have money again now, to crank up again now, to put in another 3 months crop or whatever, and hope that it meets that standard.
But this is where the training. But this is where the training comes in, yes, man.
Yes.
But this is where the training comes in. You see what I mean?
Yes.
That's the point. Yes.
Right. No, I'm just saying, Banky, that the locals also would need to understand that.
Well, yes, it's a bit to get into a business.
It's a serious investment. It's a serious investment.
But yes, if anyone want to get involved in this business, they have to know what they're getting themselves into. You're not just going her for you. You're going her for a medicinal purpose.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So you
And
have
that
to go for standard.
the
That's the
traditional
key. Yes.
the traditional cultivator program could give us the opportunity, as I said, to introduce these standards and to let people know, like, by, if you just use anything you buy from Hasford's, all kind of hazardous chemicals and your cannabis, you have a total loss. As you said, it won't pass standards. It will get flagged for pesticide residue and all these other things, microbial content, and it will be a total loss. So what the authority is thinking, maybe we should try to come up with a regimen for them, a fertilizer and a pesticide regimen, like specifically identify the pesticides and the products that we know is safe. So if you use these products to the timeline and the schedule that we give you, we know for a fact you should pass, unless there are unforeseen circumstances. So at least that would safeguard you. That would give you a formula that is successful. Now, if you feel like you want to try something else and you do something different that is on you, you're taking your own risk. But we as the authority, we feel like we could at least give you that guidance, where we give you a safe regimen that you could follow and you could always pass. And yeah.
You find yourself in a very challenging position, because a lot of questions going to be coming, a lot of challenges that you would have to deal with, and I guess it's a work in progress as well. Because as I'm listening, I'm thinking, okay, I'm a traditional grower. I get my license to grow. Now, what do I do with what I grow? Because here is it, if I don't meet that GAP requirement, so to speak, guess I'm still a traditional grower. What do I do? So I'll just be a part of the black market, so to speak, or
no, you would have to discard a plant. Like any plant going through a program, there's a seed to sale, national seed to sale software that we would have.
No, hold 1 second. Hold 1 second. We gone a little bit too far. I think we're supposed to do the commercial at the top of the hour. So yes, just this last point before we get to the commercial break.
Okay.
Like what I was just looking at, even before that person meets the medicinal standard, or under for them to get the license, the traditional grower would be a traditional medicinal grower.
You'll be
just a licensed grower.
You'll be a license holder under the Medicinal Cannabis Authority, but the license is a traditional cultivator. So you're growing medicinal cannabis, but the license is traditional cultivator.
Okay, we'll get back with you folks as we continue. We're having an engaging discussion with the recently appointed CEO for the Medicinal Cannabis Authority and St. Kitts, Mr. Nadiv Mills, with my co-host Banky Shabbas King, and the Topiks. Want to encourage you to go over to the YouTube platform, subscribe, click on the notification bell so that you're informed every time we have a program here on Real Entertainment Network. We're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll be back with you just after this.
At Shabazz Organics, we believe real people deserve real food. So we're bringing you to Mansa's Last Stop, a farm where food barriers are removed and legacy is sustained. We believe there's power in picking, so we allow you to decide what leaves the farm and enters your kitchen organically.
Beat the summer heat, come and get your carambola, star fruit, make very nice drink. Come pick them yourself. All the trees them full of vitamin C, antioxidant, build up your immune system. Mine's the last stop. A whole shopping bag for only $10. Half a shopping bag you pay $5. If you get $2, you must get some. Come get your carambola. Don't want to go to wait. Let's go, people.
When comfort, class, and reliability matter, choose the ride that delivers more. Imperial Rides Transportation Services, where every journey is treated like royalty. From airport transfers, private events, shopping trips, island tours, and executive travel, Imperial Rides moves you in style. Clean, comfortable, on time, every time. Book your premium taxi or tour service today. Call or WhatsApp 869-665-8459 or email elandflavas@gmail.com. Imperial Rides Transportation Services. Your journey, our priority.
And over there in Newcastle, and with her medical bills, I mean, it's a community effort. So thanks for those who have continued to donate. Remember, every little thing counts. So is no little donation is too small. So the family greatly appreciate all those who've been reaching out and continue to support the cause. It can happen when it comes to medical expenses. It's a lot, and it just take your family through a lot of stuff. So we want to say thanks for all those who continue contributing, and let's make this possible and help this family heal and continue to show support. Thank you very much.
Yes, and we're back with part 2 of the topics this evening with our special guest, Nadiv Mills, the recently appointed CEO of the Medical Cannabis Authority here in St. Kitts and Nevis, doing some PR work, some very much needed PR work in terms of clarifying some of the issues and demystifying some of the steps and procedures and all that, and seeking to make it a lot clearer for those who may be interested in participating, and also seemingly seeking to at least make way for even those who are traditional growers and are actually seeking to at least be able to do something in the interim. I'm looking at all of the situations, looking at the fact that at this point, the 5 trees and the 56 grams on you per person and all that is in a whole total different ball field or area. He's seeking to do what he can do from his vantage point to look at all of these things and see how we could still help in some way to make everybody, as he would have mentioned, be as inclusive as possible.
And one of the early initiatives that we have chosen to embark upon to do such a thing is we're planning to host the first ever SKN Cannabis Cup. As of right now, we're looking at the weekend before Music Festival, or the first weekend in June. The date isn't set in stone yet, but I just wanted to announce it on the show. So that will give, everyone an opportunity. If you feel like, you're very good, you're a good planter. Man, how much experience you got? Experience varies.
No,
And
I'm
some people wait more than others.
I'm smiling because I'm here thinking by it come like Nevis gonna be at a disadvantage. Nevis gonna carry because the way things going right now and them and harassing Nevision so much.
No. So that's why I said the legislation.
That issue need to be addressed.
The legislation already permits, legal participation because everybody can grow 5 plants. So with your 5 plants, you should be able to participate.
No. That's the problem. We over there again. Because the police, they must say you're not going to license. There's nobody issuing a license for you to have. You need a license to have the 5-6 plants.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so while speaking to the High Command, we realized and we did bring it to their attention, and they did acknowledge that the legislation doesn't say shall, it says may. You may have a license. So
well, this need to be clarified. I have been seeking to get a member of the police force to come to help clarify some of these things. I have been now recently directed to see if I could get the contact for
No.
Officer Mitchell,
Yes, son.
who is a part of
No,
the Cannabis Authority.
yes.
The Cannabis Committee.
Aye.
The CEO just say that the legislation say may and not
Yes.
shall. So they are willfully taking up people things. So
And
they
this
know
is the
that. I keep telling
just for
I
clarity,
keep
this is
telling
the
you this thing all the time,
Rastafari
you know.
Rights and Recognition Act, not the Medicinal Cannabis. Rastafari Rights
You
and
see what I mean?
Recognition, the legislation says may have a license, not shall.
So hold on. So this what you're saying now. This what you're saying now is still only specific and limited to the Rastafari organization.
No, because through the act,
No.
the Rastafari Rights and Recognition Act brought forth the freedom of consciousness, which gives all adults the right,
Citizens.
yes, all citizens, yes, to
Yeah.
possess 2 ounces and cultivate 5 plants on their property.
So
But they still send this to ecclesiastic.
Yes.
That's the whole
why they say
point. They
you
still
need
send
that license. That is where they're
this-
saying
it-
now
it-
that you need to get that license still.
No, it's not
no.
a need.
May.
May.
It
It's
may.
may.
Yes.
It's not
So
shall.
then-
That's what
So then
You see?
if it is may, then if it is may, as
the
Banky saying,
infringing on
then
people's
the
rights.
police
That's the whole
may pull.
point.
For sure.
That's the whole
yeah.
point.
Because there shouldn't be, because
That's
you don't have to have a
Oh.
license. It's your right
good.
to have, whether you have or have not. They shouldn't be harassing you if the
Good.
material 5 trees or 6.
Exactly.
I don't know if it's 5 or 6. For clarity, which one it is, 5 or 6?
5. It's 5 plants.
5. Okay.
Yes.
So
But
we're dealing with
did acknowledge that. The High Command did acknowledge that. And they read it out from the act itself. It says may, not shall. So
we appreciate you coming here, and because the more we have conversation in these things, because we're in a society where you see reading is important. You understand? And words, I deal with words again. One word make a big difference. And the High Command them knows this, even though the army community might not still fully understand it. The High Command is them who are there to know what the act say and must follow the act. Instead, they go against the act because the citizens them don't understand the act. And that is just the same with the Sankofa case. We have to go and fight for their rights of use and religious. It's always there, the Constitution. We just live in a society where we just love to infringe on others' rights because of their own belief and personal system. That's all it is.
yes.
That's all it is, yes, son. You see what I mean? So the Premier and the Prime Minister no need to say nothing. Because people have the right to use the herb. That's what we try to say all the time. You see? That's the problem. It's people who keep being infringed upon all the time. That's all it is. So whether it's 5 tree or 10 tree or 20 tree, just leave the herb alone because nobody can invest it. That is just my take on it. You see what I mean? That is just my take. It's just the right thing to do.
So are you saying to some extent that these guys who have been charged recently and maybe criminalized
It's
to
wrong.
some extent
It's wrong.
have grounds to challenge the system and appealing these judgments? And
I am not a liar.
No.
I can say that. But
Well, he
the
don't,
last
we can't speak on that part, but he work with, of course.
yes.
no, it was directly to you, you know. I'm sorry,
Okay,
it wasn't
okay.
necessarily directed to you. I was
Okay.
just looking at the scenario and listening, and based on what is being said. So I know that you're not a liar, and it wasn't really directed to you. It was just me, I guess, maybe thinking out loud and putting the question out there, right?
Gotcha.
So that because based on what you are presenting, it is like I'm not a liar either, but I'm just looking at, well, if this ain't supposed to happen, yet this happened, then then there should be some sort
Of course,
recourse,
it's straightforward.
you know?
Any comments, yes, you want to get in?
I'm really grateful for you to come and seeking to clarify and give a bit more information to the public, because I think the public really needs this. One of the questions here is, which I guess maybe I would ask as well for you to do, is somebody was asking how medical cannabis authority be contacted for further information. So maybe you can give out ways in which folks who may be interested in tapping into the department or getting more information even after the show can get in touch with you or the office itself.
Okay, so we do have a Facebook page right now. That's the SKN Medicinal Cannabis Authority. You can find us on Facebook, and the telephone number is 467-1613. That's 467-1613. The email address is sknmedcan, that's CANN, authority@gov.kn. That's SKN Medcan, that's CANN, authority@gov.kn. And the office is on Princess Street, right across from Bosey's. You could stop in at any time, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay, thank you for that update, and I'm sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add, I know it might be frustrating for a lot of people, might not be able to understand what is going on. But when I assumed the role, I really had to sit down and think about how I would proceed. And as I said, there's a lot of shortcomings and limitations with the act. I'm the first day, even before the first day, when I was applying for the job and reading the act and the rules and regulations, I saw issues here. But then I started to think to myself, I could spend my entire tenure trying to fix these issues, and you already know how government works. There's a lot of people you have to go through. I've never changed a law, amended a law. Don't know anyone who has, but I'm sure it's a long process. I am committed to it, but I don't want that to start me up, and I don't want that to cloud the minds of everyone else. There is opportunity, and even if you see a loophole in the law, I see an opportunity for you to get through. Come to me, present it to me, and if it is a legitimate opportunity and you can capitalize, we will support you on it. As I said, just reach out, begin.
Yeah, when is this competition you're saying for music festival? When everything is open for? Give out the information when you are planning. Yeah,
we're planning to put out the registration flyer and open up the farms for it, maybe by Friday. If not, first thing next week, Monday.
Okay.
Yes.
And when is the deadline?
We would allow registration to be open for the entire March and probably the first part of April. It just depends. We don't see the traffic. This is the first time we're doing things.
How much trees each grow expected to grow? And what are the categories when it comes to?
So the criteria is you would have to submit anywhere from 1 ounce up to 2 ounces of cannabis, and that just depends on how many judges we have and how many participants. Because basically your sample, when you turn in your sample, we're going to break it down into a portion, so it's either 2 grams, and then give it out to our judges. So based off of that, and then the judges use it, consume it however they can over a designated period of time, and then you give your reviews anonymously, everything anonymous, and then we tally the scores. And then, as I said, in June, when we have the award ceremony, we present the winners for all these different categories. The categories, as of now, we're thinking foreign genetics, local genetics, and then indoor. The reason why, because indoor, not much people go indoor, and we should recognize the people that made the effort to do it. I don't think it's the best way, but if you're going to go out there to do it, at least we should recognize those that made the effort. And then local genetics, because we want to highlight and showcase these genetics. It could be used as our market proposition. We could use this to market ourselves when we go to different places. We could say, okay, we got this homegrown genetics. In Canada, Europe, for example, there's a lot of hybrids and indicas. They don't really have that many sativas. So, the homegrown genetics is mostly hybrid but mainly sativa, thin leaf, tall, it's a different type of high. So when they mix it with the foreign genetics, the indicas, they could develop it. So it gives us an opportunity to present our cup winners, which would be a local category, for marketing opportunities. And then the foreign
And
genetics, of that lease, it demonstrates that you could grow these strains, these medical strains. So an investor looking to set up a facility, at least saying, okay, we got people down here who could bring with genetics to the standard that we like.
okay,
And then we
and you
might
say
try, sorry, let me just add it. We might try and awards, special recognition for people that use like sustainable methods. If you're using, you're harvesting seaweed from the sea, you're drying it, you're using your own compost, maybe using solar panels, these kind of things. We want to highlight innovation and sustainable practices as well. That's it.
okay. So this event, as you say, is the Cannabis Cup, local Cannabis Cup application,
Yes.
which will be open by this Friday or early next week, up
Yes.
until the end of March, the full month of March. So do you guys think about coming over to Nevis and the Agriculture Open Day and to promote this for around the same time? And in a sense, I'll be having a display at the Agriculture Expo of some
That's a
cannabis
good
plants, the same
idea.
on an educational level with some different lighting, different high sodium lights up to the LED, the older LED to the newest LED and different stuff like that, and literature and different stuff. I'll be there for the 2
Oh,
days. And yeah.
yeah, that sounds like a good opportunity, yes, for us to get out there. What day it is? I make
Well,
note
it's
of
going to
it.
be the last Thursday and Friday in the month, the 26th and 27th.
Okay.
So
Yes.
with that part, if I have, well, I'll probably have designate a small area for you guys if needed. That can be worked out.
Yes, absolutely. Let's go ahead and set that up.
All right, cool. Yes, son.
Yeah, I was just about to say that it would make sense to do a collaboration with the Medicinal Authority on some kits, and that would also even strengthen, what you're doing on the Nevis end as well. So, yeah, man, look forward to that connection and that collaboration.
Yes.
It's more than time for us to really get serious with this on Nevis. And we are going to have an opportunity to speak with the Premier next week. It's next week Tuesday, right? Banky, according to the right.
Yes,
And
sure.
so a lot of these things we are going to seek to ask ourselves. So it's not that we bring you here and not that we don't seek to ask these questions to those who are in authority here. So it's not that we're trying to put you on any
Decision maker,
right?
Let's be
Right.
frank.
So
Yes.
the reality is we do ask them when we do get the opportunity and they get on the platform, those who take our invitations, we do ask them what we need to ask them. We don't butter up anything here. We don't, that's just how we are. You say that you're going to answer, you can answer, you're going to dodge, you're going to spin, or whatever it is, but we give you that opportunity, it's just a reasoning. We continue on the platform. There's not much comments. Okay, yeah, I think that was the last comment there in terms of asking the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
go ahead,
so Mr. Yeah. So where do you see the future as the CEO, and where you want it to reach? What is your vision? What your aim? What the outcome at the end of in the next at the end of the by now and the end of the year? What do you expect to see in the short term?
In the short term, like I really
Between
just
the
want
end of the year by now and yes.
I really just want to see applications being submitted to the board. And these things might sound small, but that's the thing, like no application has been submitted for review as yet. So I really just want to achieve these small things in the lead up to everything else. The ultimate goal is to see people with licenses. People could actually wake up every day and legally make money in this space. Don't have to worry about anything because they already got people already doing it. But they have to worry about a lot while they're doing it, you know. You want to provide a legitimate address so they can wake up every day, feel comfortable, and just play their trade, make their money, make a living, develop the craft, develop the skill, and hopefully put the country on the map. That's really just my goal. There's nothing big at all. I just want this people get into that. That's literally it.
I think one of the things that would help this for a lot more application to go into also is the training aspect, because remember, growing the cannabis in the own way now is totally different when it comes to regulation and following guidelines. If you're not accustomed to follow guidelines and regulation, and people come and inspecting your stuff and ask you questions and want to know exactly what you're using, and then gonna be testing your stuff if you're lying and all this different stuff when it comes. And you see what I mean? It's a totally different thing. You got to accustom people to be in your space, because it is not now you're doing your stuff on your own. You know, want to be a part of an industry, and this is the part that I want those who is into, who want to enter it, understand now. They don't have to enter. Don't have to deal with a lot of regulation and monitoring. That's the key. The people going to be monitoring you. Yes.
That's why I encourage as much people as possible to sign up for the Cannabis Cup, because that is how we're going to really begin the education process. Because as I say, based off of the list of people that sign up for the Cannabis Cup, they're going to at least indicate to us, look, these people are very interested in this thing. So then we could start reaching out to them, phone number, emails, whatever, letting them know, okay, yeah, we have these trainings coming up in GAP, good agricultural practices, and different things coming up. We will be highlighting some chemicals, pesticides, and fertilizers for you to use. We know for a fact these are safe. You know, giving you best practices. Right now, we're planning to adapt the standards of Jamaica, you know, so just letting you be aware of standards in different jurisdictions so you know what it is really required of you in this industry. So the Cannabis Cup is how we're going to present that information.
So your son, Cannabis Cup?
I'm trying to figure out now.
And this gonna fall in line with music festival. It's gonna fall in line with music festival. The judgment, the judge gonna be at the music festival event. One of those nights. How are you gonna work?
No, the ceremony, which is the Cannabis Cup, it's gonna be the weekend, either one weekend before music fest or 2 weekends before music fest. But it's gonna fall around the same time.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. In June.
So
it's in June.
Might be a trivial question, but I sign up now for the Cannabis Cup. What protection I have now that, well, now I sign up with this thing, and I am setting up myself for this thing now. And
you have 5 trees, yeah, so you can go with cheese.
Exactly. The disclaimer, because the authority telling you, okay, this is your 5 plants. We're telling you what to do. So if you're participating, we make you sign a waiver. You're signing and saying that you're following the law. You only is from your 5 trees. This is not for sale.
Okay.
Blah 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 blah. And then
you don't need a disclaimer for that. You don't need a disclaimer when you could have your 5 trees legally all the time. So you don't need a disclaimer for that. You can still within your rights.
No, I guess he's just looking at protecting himself from the legal side of it. Yeah.
Peace of mind for the applicants and participants.
Yeah, well, for the authority might say, yeah, you stick with 5 trees, don't go above the 5 trees. Kind of protecting themselves. Of course, I can understand the part there. Yes. Of course.
I mean, that's the one thing we brought up to the high command as well, was like, you know, people and they don't feel safe. They want, if this is a setup, because we asking to be able to provide information, address, phone number, all these things, then if we going to send police on them. So now there's a lot of things to consider. You know?
I'm glad you brought that to the fore, because I was thinking not necessarily along the line of you sending police to arrest them, but having that the authority could, they would be able to say, okay, they are listed, and so these are people who would not be necessarily seeking to harass or whatever the case may be. That's
That's
just
why I said we would advocate for you as an agent, but as I said, the police would always say they're just enforcing the law. So we also have to be mindful of that.
True.
okay. Sounds reasonably enough, and I look forward to that. That would be a good start for St. Kitts and Nevis. There was a
Yes.
question I had in relation to an approach, because in terms of speeding up what is supposed to happen, right? Because I see a question here about, are there any medical cannabis businesses established in the federation? Which at this point
The
the
answer
answer
is
is
no.
no. The answer
No.
is no.
There
Really.
hasn't been
What
no completed application submitted. So that's just
right?
to
'Cause you
tell
said
you.
that earlier, right? How far back we are, right, in terms of
Exactly.
delay. But um, I know, for example, in Canada, there's an approach where the government, to some extent, regulates and control a certain amount of the cannabis industry, and they actually have government-operated dispensaries that you can go through the government and get your cannabis, and or even they actually even ship it or mail it to your given address or whatever it is. But this is
Oh,
from the government side of it, where
okay.
they have regulated it, but then they still make a way for the people to get it, so to speak. Um, is that something I see you look up? So I guess that might not even be something that you guys would have considered, because what I'm
Well,
looking at here is, it is legalized. Sorry, not legal. It's decriminalized. But we're talking about the expense also of setting up a dispensary. Yet you're still seeing the pushback that may and will occur, and I would have to say will, because after the regulations are going to be put in place, then there's going to be some serious enforcement on who they consider to be the black market, so to speak. Those who do not align with the getting the license and all that. So there will still be the fight against those, and it will be even more, I think, aggressive, because the argument is going to be, well, follow the guidelines, follow the rule, get it aligned.
yes.
So that is what I am curious about. How what approach you guys want to take in the interim to help facilitate it, because like I said, the dispensary license might be too expensive for one of us to set up at this point. It might either be some foreigner have to come in, or the government can say, okay, let us help the people who are not getting a chance to get it legally. Let's set up the operation in the meantime, while we will still have options available for individual people to get it. Is that something that you guys are considering or could consider?
So as I said, right now the government isn't looking to invest that kind of capital, because even for staffing wise, to set up a dispensary, you need to man the dispensary, you know. So it would be a serious investment. It doesn't seem like the government right now is considering it, but I think that they will be willing to facilitate, is where I said the traditional cultivator. We take the harvested product, we make our processing facility. It might just be a cure house where the government just cure it, and then through partnerships with maybe private, we send it to a manufacturer, a private manufacturer, a private dispensary, one of the two. That's where I really see, at least initially, how the government is looking to get involved, but not from a dispensary side, at least not now.
One of the things you mentioned earlier is a lounge, where you say medicinal cannabis users can go to a lounge and use it. So
Consume it.
the lounge, consume it. The lounge won't be able to sell it.
No, you would need to have two licenses on that property, where you have a dispensary license, and it would still have to be, differentiated, maybe a door, a separate location, a barrier, something to differentiate both businesses. But a lounge cannot sell medicinal cannabis. It's just a place you got to consume it.
Me not understand that. Me not
Yeah.
understand that one day.
It's a unique business
We
type,
had
you
another
know.
one there.
You
So you're
just
saying,
go.
Huh?
so you're saying that at the lounge, you're gonna pay for a license just to allow people to smoke there.
Yes.
That's technically what you're
Be-
saying.
Because remember, on the laws, they have designated smoking areas. So technically, on the books, you can't just smoke any and anywhere. You can't just go by a bar and smoke. So
No, no,
a
hold
lounge
on, hold on, hold
place.
on, wait,
So,
hold 1 second. Because if I have a bar right now, so to speak,
mm,
um, I can't just designate an area and say, okay, over here in my establishment that I'm paying my business for, because I
yes.
know that people may come there and smoke. I can't just create a space over there and say that is my designated smoking area.
It seems like there's a great area for that, and yeah, it seems like you need some type of special authorization to create a designated smoking area. That's what it seems to me, because you see all the
So,
billboards popping
No,
up
but
all
hold
over.
yes.
on. There were some
Yeah, but
businesses there were businesses that I know generally would have had that like as a part of the establishment where they would say, okay, because they know, okay, like even without cannabis, there's some people who
Mhm.
don't like cigarette
hotel,
smoke.
hotels,
There's some people who
restaurant would
don't
have
like
smoking area
yeah,
and stuff like that.
and
Okay.
hotels and restaurants and so some
Of
places
course.
they would have
Hmm.
designated smoking
Bars.
areas as a part of the establishment,
Yeah.
and they didn't have to pay for a license for that. So that is why I'm trying to figure
Yes.
out. Well, why now I would have to pay for a specific designated area? So cannabis is the problem then.
And it seems like you're highlighting a loophole, but as I say, as the authority, I could only present to you what is on the books. It says, as far as medicinal cannabis consumption, it has to be done within a lounge, or it got to be on your own private property. So the lounge provides a safe place in public for you to go and consume medicinal cannabis. But as you rightfully said, maybe there is a circumstance where normal business owners can designate, but the authority has no jurisdiction over that. I can't speak to it. All I know, medicinal cannabis, it has to in public has to be consumed in a medicinal cannabis lounge.
Okay, and while we're on that, can you speak to the fees now for the loan so that we can get an idea now? Because I thought I
Okay.
might have been able to sell at the lounge, but now I'm hearing they can only allow people to smoke. I would want to know how much I have to pay. Just to,
So
just to yes, sir.
the lounge application fee is 2,500 for locals, and the license fee is 30,000. So
The 30,000 for 3 years. It's for 3 years. That is
yes,
also a
for
3 year
3 years.
thing.
Yes, for 3 years. So I mean, that's why I said there's opportunities in everything. Eh? So we just have to find creative ways. Some people have already approached me with creative ideas on how they can capitalize with a lounge license. But as I said, we're just working with what we have. And as the authority, and just tell you by the books, you can't sell cannabis.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
Mhm.
enough. But I am glad that we are having these questions and helping to clarify the public because this is what this is all about. It's a public education, and a lot of the
Mhm.
questions that we are asking, I'm sure that the listening public out there have some of these questions too. And I mean, we are on the last 20 minutes or so. So folks, if you're out there and you want to have your questions asked, you can call in. The number at this point is 662-7196. That's 1-869-662-7196. I still haven't got my other phone
What,
sorted out. So like if you call my number right now, it would be the volume will be very low and we might not necessarily hear it on
what,
here. Sorry, you were
what,
gonna say something, Mr. Mills?
yes, what I would say is, I mean, because you gentlemen are rastas as well, I would say the people them that came to me with the opportunity and the idea are rastas themselves. So if you are a rasta and you can, you know, utilize the freedom of consciousness and you're right, you know, to have and possess cannabis, and especially on your holy lands where the limitations are expanded. I think on sacred grounds you can plant unlimited cannabis, for example. You could possess unlimited. Then, you know, if you incorporate a lounge in the aspect, then you might not
So
have to, you know. They might not have to sell
Where,
cannabis.
so what you call
But
sacred ground? So my farm is my sacred ground.
so that is where we're trying to engage with ecclesiastical affairs to get them to really present the whole process and to clear it up. Let everyone know how is it you can register an area and your place as a sacred grounds. Ecclesiastical
But
affairs is who have the authority.
so ecclesiastic gonna determine what is a sacred ground. So
But
my
you have to get
so my
it
farm,
registered
my
with
home where I'm
ecclesiastical.
at now is not sacred. Wherever I'm at, all my property should be sacred grounds. I would want to believe that, huh? You- because once my ground is sacred, I supposed to have unlimited amount. For what the Constitution give me as my spiritual use as a citizen, natural in a sense, I have the right to at my sacred ground to have any amount of trees, right? And my sacred ground.
The sacramental use, yes.
Of course. Well, that's of course. Right, yes, son? You
Yes.
understand
So
that?
that's what I'm saying.
I could
You
have
just have
million
to think
trees.
about it and realize the opportunities in it, and just try to incorporate both of them and see how you could, have a lounge
Yes.
and still have your Rastafarian grounds where you have unlimited cannabis. You could incorporate
Of course.
tours, for example. You know,
Yes.
there's other ways
Of
to
course.
make money without selling the cannabis.
Definitely. Yes, I.
Got you. Got you.
Yes. Any
I'm
question,
really
yes, son,
grateful.
coming up?
Um, I'm really grateful for the the opportunity for the brother to come on the platform and be sharing with us this evening. I continue saying that because I think you are really clearing up a lot of things for a lot of individuals. You're putting a lot of things on the table and some serious food for
Yes.
thought. Um, let's continue and see. We have okay, that's the same. Andre, am I understanding this correctly? Well, I don't know what that
The
question.
person was asking about the lounge. If there's $2,500 for a lounge and you can't sell cannabis.
Yes,
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay,
that's
right.
Yes.
yes. It
That's what's going.
sounds unreasonable, but it just takes some creativity. We didn't make the fees, and that is one thing we did. We are planning to engage the AG with to see if we can address some of these fees. But as I said, there is creative ways for you to get economic value out of that lounge license, even at the price point, I think.
But why the lounge could not have a small area where the cannabis is sold? Why you got to be separate?
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough one. I agree. Like, they probably should be together. I don't see why I would go buy a dispensary and then go buy another establishment, especially if I have to pay an entrance fee to go in a lounge. But
Yes.
I think it
we
has to do with
just
the
have
regulation. I
I'm
think it
sorry?
has to do with the regulation. I think it has to do with the regulations and specifications, like for a dispensary and whatever security things that is necessary inside the dispensary. Because I understand that it operates like that. In because a lot of the laws that are put in place were taken from other
From
regulations that were in place already, and
Okay,
so
but
in
a lounge could I have an area in the lounge setting, depending on the size of the lounge or whatever. You can
so
have
that's what he said
up to
earlier. What he said,
£10
he
or
was saying,
£5 to accommodate
no, what he
a
was
dispensary
saying,
where you have unlimited
could be
amount.
attached. No, but what he was saying, it could be attached to the lounge, but it would have to be maybe like in a separate room or with a separate door and all
separate
that.
door,
So like
for
Oh,
sure.
in the lounge, you sit
that,
down
yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
speak.
yeah. Of course, of course.
If you need to go and purchase now, you'd have to go like in a
You
different
go and come back.
section, a segment,
That's
right?
fine, of
And
course.
you go and
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it,
that's
and
fine.
then you come back. So that
Yes.
is what he was saying. And that's what I
But
gathered
you would
from
Of
still need to purchase the two license. One can
two
still go.
license.
Yes.
right. So you would have to
Yes,
have a
of
dispensary
course.
license, but then you would have a dispensary operating at the lounge location, so to speak.
Got,
Right.
yes, okay, got you. Okay, cool, fine. All right.
I might be one of the ways where you could reap economic value is to position your lounge around a few dispensaries, if there isn't any, you know. But that would probably be when the market get more mature and they got much more businesses. For sure.
Right.
Okay. So with this, so where do you see? Well, I know right now you're hoping to get as much application fees in, keep the ball rolling, but
Yes.
I'm still stuck on the part. Whereas when you approve an application fee, what are the moving parts that can really say, well, yes and yes, you have been approved, you can start grow. These are the rules. Do you have extension staff, people train when they come to monitoring all these different stuff? Because if these things, the moving parts are not in place, it's still going to frustrate those who have been approved. You see what I mean? So what would be a
So
startup time if you are?
there isn't extension staff, but for example, if you get approved for a cultivation license, you have to turn in all your supporting documents. That could be floor plan, facility plan, your SOPs, which is your standard operating procedures, how you're going to conduct business. And then based off your plan, you submit it to us, and then we send out inspectors, field officers. It will be extension officers for agriculture. And we just go out and then we verify what is reality based off of the plan that you send us and make sure, things align. And then we could give you a provisional license for you to start engaging in cultivation and whatever.
Okay.
So that sounds like the initial operation would definitely have to be an indoor operation, or at least a protected agricultural space, because we're talking about floor plan and all of these things.
No, I just mention it because it can be, and most people would, I think, would be going into like greenhouse and indoor. But if it's a facility, it would just be the land, and then okay, this is a bed, this is your growing area.
Of course,
you're just laying it out, the same thing.
Of course.
Okay, got you. I just wanted to clarify that. So at least the traditional cultivator who might be still cultivating outdoors is not necessarily left out, at least in the initial steps going forward. Okay.
So upon this point, where the Rastafarians them for the supplement, those are the only who have the right on their supplemental area to have grow as much cannabis as they want.
Yes.
Apart from the 5 trees, that is said to be legal for the rest of the masses.
Yes, and if I'm not mistaken, I think a few places have already been recognized. In St. Kitts, at least, I want to say 2. I'm not sure if Gideon Farm is one, but I want to think Gideon Farm is one, and there might be another one. But there are a couple on St. Kitts have already been recognized as holy ground, sacred ground.
So how do one qualify or quantify for that?
I'm not sure. As I said, we're meeting with Ecclesiastical Affairs next month, I think the 11th of next month, and I will try to find out all the information. And really just encourage them to do more, because this ain't really our responsibility, but we get the blows for it. So, we really need them to step up, for sure.
Yes. Well, you're doing the work of two ministers, of Mr. Hanley and of Mr. Eric Evening over here in Nevis. So you should be paid 3 salaries. So I must commend you. I'm going to advocate that you get those 2 other ministers pay a portion of their pay, because you're actually doing their work, and it's the right thing to do. You see what I mean? You're here holding the hat of 2 other ministers. So I must commend you for that. You're being very, I must say, happy about it. Well, I understand that. Me roughly for them, that's not for me to do, not for you to do. You see what I mean? That's I understand that. It's for me to do, because we just want them to come and do what they're paid the task to do, to educate the general public and make it much easier, so you won't have the task of filling that void. You see what I mean? Yeah. So we appreciate you bringing out the information and advocating on behalf of the citizens and stuff like that. So that is appreciated. So definitely, I mean, they're listening. I've been getting texts and phone call on and off that they're listening, and they definitely. Well, I see the cannabis is going to have some inputs. The cup coming up. So and you said the application fee will be open. Application will be open. And is there a fee for that? For the registration?
There will be a registration fee. We haven't settled on it as yet. This is the first time we're having a cannabis cup. So, as I said, we're just
So
feeling out
Wayne,
everything. They have to
you have gifts
associate it.
already. You have you have prices that you're gonna be winning and stuff like that going to be given out.
Prizes will be given out, of course. Collaboration opportunity is going to be the biggest prize because we have a link to that. Said Dr. Marshall Emmanuel, who works with Humboldt Seed Company. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but that's a big breeder in California. So,
California, of course.
Collaboration opportunities is what we're really pushing, but there will be other prizes as long as we engage our sponsors and they come to cooking, of course.
Sounds good. Really loving what I'm hearing. I'm hopeful that I'm going back to the point where you said you're gonna meet with the Ecclesiastic Affairs Ministry and that aspect of it pretty soon. I'm hopeful that when you meet with them, that one of the things that you could encourage so that the next time maybe you come back on the platform, that maybe you could have a member or someone of them representing that aspect so that they can speak to the area with us. Because we are going to welcome you back and we're going to invite you back because a lot more of this needs to be done. So this is just the iceberg. You might not necessarily be you. I don't know, maybe you might be too busy and so on, but maybe another member of the staff or the PRO or something can at least come from time to time. Because one of the things, this is the only platform and program where we do have a cannabis show it's on the Everything Agriculture show the last Friday in every month. We usually do a show that is specific to cannabis. So if you're looking for a platform to collaborate with as well, that is something that we can do together. Even if you got to put in a little sponsorship or whatever it is too, we can work with that as well too. But at least the platform is there and the space is there. We have been doing it for
real quick. I need to grab my charger. Sorry about that.
No problem. Yes, it's something that we have been doing for a couple of years now. For those of you who have been following us on the platform, the last week in every month, we do a program specific to cannabis, and we have been doing that for a couple of years because we know that there needs to be a lot more promotion and education and re-education in some instances where cannabis is concerned, and we have taken up that mantle for years. So it would be nice if now that the ministry or the Medical Cannabis Authority is now set up, that we can be part of that catalyst to push it nationally and also to seek to empower our Nivision counterpart to get as active and more active as well. So, Banky, you're muted.
We are definitely getting a lot of information from Mr. Mills this evening. And as you see, the listening and viewing audience are much engaged and asking questions. It's like you have someone just asks, yes, 5 trees, but how you get the seeds? You see what I mean? So these are things people having question and want to know, because it's not like there are seeds selling here on the island in a sense. Like, well, there are local people who are selling seeds and stuff like that. And so, but if you want to bring in your own specific seeds, then just to start with, then if you'll have to figure out that part of it. But as it's going to be growing down the road for the industry, they will have a guideline which areas you can get seed with, whether it's Humboldt or any other Supreme Seeds company and stuff like that. Okay, it's all about getting it's a standard.
Yes.
So, and that's what it is. It's just you to pick which field you want to be in, but at the same time, they're quality seeds company. If you want to work along that line, is the one who will be buying your product for the medicinal purposes when it's come to making lotions and all the soaps and different stuff like that. If the standards have to be met, that means the material could be used in other areas when it comes to processing, if not using for consumption internally and stuff like that. So, but yes, lots of information have been coming out this evening, and I appreciate, as I said, Mr. Mills coming on. He's a young man, have been tasked with a big position where every day he gonna be having just going on the road. Somebody gonna be in his head all the time. So what we all doing, whether it's on a positive or negative, he just got to stand firm listen, don't
Absolutely.
take it personal, just listen. Because everybody gonna approach things differently because there's a lot of emotions involved because I've affected people for hundreds of years and stuff like that. So now over the past 50 years, it's not gonna just go away. We still live in a community that still have issues with cannabis. So you will still have that part of it. We have a lot of churches. We are that kind of society. So even though the government, I say, well, the people gonna still have their views on it and stuff like that. But at the same time, what have we realized? There are a lot of people who have ailments when it comes to cancer and eating disorder, sleeping disorder, and their local doctors here recommend them to use cannabis for different purposes and the oils. So if these are happening locally with the doctors and stuff like that, it shows that they really need a moratorium where the herb should be suppressed, and at the same time, it is already been supposed to, because it's not like they have to have a license. You see what I mean? So it should the clarity is there. So it just should be left alone, and those who have been charged down the road should be compensated in somewhat, and the cases should be dropped automatically. So if we're gonna move forward in making this right, we just gotta have a collective effort in both St. Kitts and Nevis, where the both premier and both ministers, whether it's in agriculture and stuff like that, have a collective effort where everybody's singing in unison with one voice, and it will work better that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
honestly, Kevin says greetings, good night guys, happy Tuesday. Joy King says good night everyone. Jetty Taylor, greetings
How you doing,
King.
sis? Yes,
We
Jet,
got
big up Jetty.
Teko Selassie says sorry about the mistake, but who are the pharmacologists to decide who can qualify? Don't the crap about traditional farmer. How can okay, so I think I asked that question already. Okay, I know there's a 5G, so that was responded to already as well. So there's gonna be questions and a lot of unanswered questions, and the thing is, I guess a part of the pushback is it's a bittersweet feeling to some extent, because here is the people looking forward to get some relief from the struggles that they would have been going through over the years, and then just when they think that they're getting some relief, seemingly the government has sort of hijacked the industry and is more focused on making money from the industry, because that is the way they see that they can benefit, and that's the area, the angle that they opt to push on. And even though they have done so, they are still lagging behind, because a lot of Sankofa's case was, well, I think back in 2019. So a lot of these things, they would have decriminalized it since back in 22. And we're here now with 2026, and we are approaching another election, and it seems as if like these things are being pushed like it's political gimmicks. And I know some comment like that was made in one of the meetings, because it was said that, well, the next election is coming, and so they want to get moving on this thing. We need to get beyond this political gimmick, or seemingly political gimmick, and that is how it is being taken. Because here is it that when we look at, for example, what they may seem to be interested in, the SSZ, look how easy they went through Parliament and run this SSZ and getting ready for this and do all what they need to do to make it.
And it seems perfectly for them to
And
achieve their goal.
they're claiming that they're looking to diversify the economy, and when they approach cannabis and they up to deal with the medical side, that was the argument that they presented. Oh, well, they see a means of them making some money and all this, and even that they're dragging their feet with. And the part that Sankofa took them to court for, which he was successful at winning, they have thrown under Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs, and we are not hearing anything from Honorable Jeffrey Hanley. Absolutely nothing. And the Nevis is in even a deeper problem, because Nevis don't have a branch of the Ecclesiastic Affairs. So there's no representation in Nevis. So anything that has to be done from the Nevis side right now would have to go through a ministry that is not active at the moment. So if you go to get a license for the 5 trees or the 56 grams that you should be able to carry, they don't have it. They're not ready for you. And this is why we are saying that we need that moratorium. It is unfair to be harassing people for something that they legitimately have the right to have.
Yeah.
So, when the commissioner saying Division Police, I agree with Banky in the sense that the reality is he's the commissioner for federal, because how the government set up, the federal government is responsible for the police and the army and the military. So even though there's an assistant commissioner on Nevis, the blame shouldn't be thrown. He shouldn't throw his deputy under the bus. Because the reality is the buck stopped with him. So if that is happening, it's his problem. And so, we need to fix this if we really want the industry to move forward. And I know that you're pushing. So I'm not trying to blame you, because I know the fact that we even had this comment is because you guys would have approached him. And when we had the meeting, you were able to report what you guys would have gotten from them. So I'm not trying to blame you or anything, because I know that you guys are trying. But I'm just saying, our reality on the ground is Nevis is at some serious disadvantage, where the SKN is getting governmental support, because the Ministry of Agriculture is the ministry that is responsible for the Cannabis Authority and investing in putting the authority together. So here is it, the police and think it will say, well, okay, whereby is the ministry pushing this thing, and so they're just trying to do a thing. So they got to respect that. And Nevis, and we not got nobody from the ministry saying anything. And then we don't have a branch of the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs and Nevis to address the other side of it either. So these are some of the issues that we have. So I'm bringing it to you too, because I know you may be able to, when you have meetings with these people, just share some of the challenges and the frustrations that we are having, especially from the Nevis end, especially.
Absolutely.
And when you're kind of on a Nevis platform, so to speak. So that is basically one of the messages that I would really want you to carry back. I'm really grateful for you coming, and you stood up, you answered the questions. I find you very genuine, and sharing as much info as you could, and I'm really grateful for that. And we look forward to having you back on the platform soonest, and we're giving you open platform to, when you have updates or information, just reach out to Banky or myself and let us know you have something. And even if you have to fit in for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, even if it's not the whole show, we are willing to do that, because we are open for this cannabis thing. And like we were saying before, you had to cut to check for your charger. We do have that last week in the month, so if you want to collaborate with us and we do something, we are open for that, and we are open to be that PRO, so to speak. You could give us the information, and we can help to present, so we're willing to do that. So Banky, we have just gotten over the 10 o'clock hour. I know we had a couple of minutes because we started a bit late, but we can use these minutes for the wrap up, and we could probably, if you have any other questions for him, you could ask the questions, and then we give CEO Nadiv Mills an opportunity for any closing remarks or any other additional information that you want to put out before you leave the program, and then we do our closing. So Banky?
Well, I'm just going to give Mr. Mills the opportunity to disseminate any additional information and any that he wants to say before he go, and then we close out from there. It's been a good reasoning for the last 2 hours. Definitely looking forward for him continue collaborating with us in the near future, as we can, whatever information is there to disseminate, we are here to disseminate, and anything they want to advertise throughout the show, sponsor the Advertising Agriculture show from a ad or whatever for small fee. We're open, because we've been pushing this for over 5 years now. This September we're going to make 6 years since we're doing this. So we've not just been around more than just a couple of years. It's been going on 6 years, and having a show, so we don't take no break, is a real commitment. And with the listening audience who stick with us morning, noon, and night, whatever it is, they just don't lag off. So we really appreciate our commitment to the listening and viewing audience, because they is the one who make the show for what it is. So it's always echo the sentiments to them, definitely supporting. So, I'll give you your final wrap up.
Okay. Yes, Yassan and Banky, it's truly been an honor, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to come on and grace your show and present to your listening and viewing audience. One thing I want to leave with you all is that I will not forsake the social justice aspect of my job and the reparatory justice that is needed and due to many of the citizens, not just Rastas, many people that have been prosecuted during the time of prohibition. So as the authority, it is a key principle of ours to make sure that the less fortunate, the people who have been prosecuted, just the average man really gets an opportunity, a fair slice of the cake when we are slicing it up. So for right now, it seems like the best opportunity is for someone that isn't established is to go through the traditional cultivator pathway. Is the lowest cost, the least barrier to entry. We, as the authority, we have some work to do on it. We will build out the definition and come up with a program, clear for you to follow, so that you could be compliant and engage in the medicinal cannabis industry. And then I also want to add that Nevis will not be left out of this at all. As CEO, you have my word. I pledge to always be available. Come over to Nevis. Any opportunity that is available on St. Kitts will be afforded to Nevis as well. As I said, since the year start, it's mostly been Nevisians that have shown the most interest. So that tells me something, you know. There's opportunity there, there's talent there, and we just want to harness it and guide you through the process.
Just a quick question. Back to the cup thing. So, in terms of the cup, if I seek to register, would you recommend like one of the better ways is to apply for at least the traditional growers part of it?
Well, it won't be necessary. It won't be necessary for you to participate.
Yes, you said that you could just put this on the 5 Gs.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yes, it was really a pleasure having you on the platform. I think that you would have done a lot in terms of seeking to answer a lot of the questions that many persons would have had out there, because a lot of the questions were not just our questions, but questions based on discussions we would have had with people and people meeting us and asking us, and, you know, as they would say, jam us with, you know, things, tell us, man, yeah, man, you should ask this and you should ask that, and so on. We are encouraging some of these people as well to come out and be a bit more vocal. But on the Nevis end, part of the challenge is the fear factor, you know, because at the same time, even though, you know, they should be able to, there's still that barrier that is put in place. So I'm hopeful that, you know, sooner than later, the chief inspector can, you know, do what is necessary in terms of speaking to his counterparts in Nevis and ensuring that this is done. Them in collaboration with the heads, the PM and the Premier. I'm also calling you guys because you guys could have some influence as well in terms of these decisions. And we have to call on you because you're elected. You're the ones who actually put these laws and should be facilitating these regulations. So at the end of the day, the police is only there to enforce the laws, and that's what I was trying to get out, Banky, within that discussion. But at the end of the day, that's the only task.
Yeah, police enforcing the law. Police are infringing people's rights. That's a difference.
That's true.
So what you're saying makes no sense. That's a difference. Infringing people's rights is not enforcing the law, Virgin. So stop back up the police. You keep backing up too much.
No, me not back them up.
You keep backing up the police too much in the wrongness. They done wrong, you can't make it right.
No, they done wrong, yes. What I'm saying at the end of the day.
That's the point. So leave it there. They done wrong, you can't unpan it.
It's only our elected officials who put the laws and regulations in place. They are the ones who we should be really seeking to reach out to in order to make these things happen. Because what the brethren here is being held back with is things that the politicians and them need to fix. And the people. So that is why I'm saying that them we really need to challenge. That them need to fix the things and put whatever in place and get whatever money to invest in whatever. They could find money to do all kind of things. Because election will come up and we're going to see how much money they find to do all kind of things. So if they really want this cannabis thing deal with, the brethren is there. The brethren got the qualifications. The brethren got the work. The brethren seem to have the mindset to want to do these things. Well, budget the money, put the money there. Get the other people, whoever technical people, to make whatever happen. They're supposed to get the legal people on the team, AG and whoever else. Make it happen. And that's all I'm saying. So me protecting the police and backing the police, I'm just saying that where we need to channel the energy is on these people who we call elected officials, who are the executive body. That's my 2 cents. Anyway, enough respect, my brethren, for coming through and for the contribution that you would have made this evening. I think the entire listening public and platform would definitely love to have you back at some point. So I'm glad that you're open for that. And we would have some further discussions in ways in which we could collaborate and make maybe even that last Friday in every month something that we could, work on together as a commemorative, a collaboration moving forward. I want to say thanks to all of the other members of the Real Entertainment Network team. Want to make a final pledge to encourage those who are listening to log on to our YouTube platform, subscribe, like, share, and make sure you click on the notification bell. So every time we have a program, that you are definitely notified. And there is one more little thing that I need to add before I leave, that this is the topic, and it's the most diverse conversations on any platform, bringing powerful voices and critical perspectives into one space. The Topics. See you guys next week for another edition of the Topics. See you guys Friday. Who we have as a special guest, Banky? You have any special guest for Friday?
Emperor L.A. Lewis will be our guest next week Friday, and a special edition of the Topics. And next week Tuesday, the 3rd, will be the Premier Mark Brantley, where we have the commitment of every 3 months where he come and we do the reasoning and give an update. So that will be our guest on next week Tuesday. So spread the word. We'll send out the flyer from this evening, and we could be shared. And here at Commit, so we have a lot to talk about, from the CARICOM to cannabis to the SSZ to healthcare to just the economy, everything. So definitely looking for that reasoning next week Tuesday, and also with the one with Emperor Lewis. And then on the 3rd, the following Tuesday, will be Rohan Isles, the man with the plan that he says. So, and then we continue from there, a different guest every Friday and every Tuesday. So, brethren, Mr. Mills, give thanks coming on. It was a good guest.
Bless up.
Keep up the good work. We stay in contact and see what the future holds and stuff like that. Enough respect.
Yes, thanks. Have a good one.
Banky, we got to confirm Santai Barrett as well. So he will be on the platform next week. So definitely we
next
look
week
forward
Friday.
Yes, on the Friday, yes. So
okay, good.
Yes. All right, so people, enough love, guidance, and attention. Be sure to
Lately I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else choose you instead. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Got up in the morning, took a shot, that's the right. Girl, you left my stomach in a knot. Took my lighter and you burned the bridge. Thought you was a writer. No, you just an idol. You got me feeling like Big Sean in this.